I can feel it through my computer screen. You clicked on this video, and you have steam coming out of your ears. Your blood is boiling, and your eyes are bloodshotting. This is a crazy idea, and everybody is gonna be pissed off to hear it. Wait a minute, no, are you kidding? No way is this ever gonna go down. Why are you even making a video about this? What is there to even talk about? I'll tell you what there is to talk about. We had ourselves a recent episode of the Basu and Godin podcast. This is a show on SDPN where two Montreal Canadiens-based beat reporters in Arpon Basu and Marc-Antoine Godin go out there and talk about stuff. For lack of a better term, it's a podcast revolving around a lot of NHL stuff, but of course there's a primary focus on the Montreal Canadiens. The show's recent episode had a small tidbit, a snippet of the audio that was posted onto the SDPN Twitter account. Take a look at this video. It will be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to it. John Tavares to the Canadiens? Let's explore. This was from yesterday morning, and the video is only 58 seconds long. Now, what I wanted to do, because it is a video, was transcribe what it was that Arpon Basu goes out there and says. It's a very easy quote, but it's a very big one. Basu says this: "We've had several people asking about the possibility for the Canadiens to acquire John Tavares, who is entering the final year of his contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Tavares thing is not out of the question because it would fit the Canadiens' finances. It would make sense in that regard. If that comes with sweeteners, or it allows them to shed a contract that they'd rather not have, I think someone mentioned Josh Anderson as a possibility. I could see something happening where the Canadiens benefit from taking on John Tavares' contract and freeing the Leafs from that cap responsibility." Now, the best part about Basu and Godin is that they are a two-man show. It's not just one guy like me going out there and saying one thing as the be-all and end-all, but Marc-Antoine Godin goes out there immediately and shuts down the Basu idea. Hey, I don't think that John Tavares would waive his trade protection to go to Montreal. I just don't see that happening, and Basu still doubled down. He talked about how John Tavares apparently had a meeting with Montreal back when he was a free agent, and so what I wanted to do in this video was talk about that very strange idea. Could we see some sort of a John Tavares move from Toronto over to Montreal, and could Josh Anderson be the return? That is crazy when you really think about it, and the reason it's crazy is because just evaluating the talent profiles of each of these guys, you will have wildly different results. John Tavares is a good hockey player who can score points and make plays. This season he had 65 points in 80 games played, which of course is not as good as his 80-point season last season with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it is way better than what Josh Anderson had. Anderson had himself 20 points in 78 games played. 9 goals, 11 assists. John Tavares was a monster compared to Josh Anderson. And the contracts actually would work out in Montreal's favor too. John Tavares is making $11 million till the end of next season at 33 years old right now. Josh Anderson is making $5.5 million till the end of 2026-2027 at 30 years old right now. If you traded John Tavares for Josh Anderson, what the Toronto Maple Leafs would be getting would be an extra $5.5 million on their cap after 2025 until 2027. Is John Tavares in as unfavorable of a position as he is in right now to insinuate the idea that the Leafs and Brad Treliving would be willing to take on $5.5 million extra dollars for 2 more years? Oh, Tavares is too expensive right now. Let's trade him away and get a guy who will be pretty expensive, but not as expensive as Johnny T. But this new guy will be expensive for even more years than Johnny T. And when you think about the caliber of play, hey, at least John Tavares had 60 points. It's not the best value you could get for $11 million a year, but it certainly beats 20 points for $5.5 mil for a few extra seasons. This isn't even like a lateral move. The Toronto Maple Leafs would just kind of be a huge short-term gain to really try to maximize the window that they have right now. Matthews, Nylander, Marner, these guys are the guys. And if Marner is not going to come back, which is seemingly the most apparent situation that everybody kind of insinuates at this point, What more do you need but to get yourselves a good supporting cast? What more do you need to surround these guys with depth and talent that can round out the lineup and use your extra cap savings to get even more players? Now, I will say, when it comes to Anderson being the guy, I was kind of thinking, like, when I listened to the Basu video, I was kind of saying, okay, well, what kind of contracts could the Maple Leafs be interested in? Do they want players, like guys to actually step in, or would they want a contract that would allow them to maximize, like LTIR, for example, like a Carey Price? That's a contract that still exists. Yeah, remember him? Would it be weird to see Carey Price as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs cap-friendly page? I think that'd be baffling, like mind right flip turn upside down kind of stuff. But of course, that's just the idea that I was thinking of. Basu literally says Anderson as one of the guys that's mentioned here, and the idea is ridiculous because if you have to go off of Basu's comments as a guideline, he kind of insinuates the idea, oh, maybe the Montreal Canadiens could get sweeteners in order to acquire the John Tavares albatross of a non-worthy contract. Like, would you imagine some sort of a trade where it's Anderson for Tavares, and the Tavares side of the trade is what's adding on extra picks or prospects? Could you imagine Josh Anderson fetching multiple assets, including John Tavares, from the Toronto Maple Leafs? He is not even effective whatsoever. Like, the Toronto Maple Leafs would be better off just trading away Johnny T by himself or buying him out or whatever, and getting somebody who could actually be somewhat useful. Anderson is totally not that, and especially at the cap hit, you would have to think that there's a much more negative value longer term with this guy compared to Johnny T, who is expiring in just a year from now. Oh, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, they cannot afford to wait a year. That's the entire reason we're having this conversation, isn't it? Because year after year with Kyle Dubas in the driver's seat, he was not able to do anything to help this team become a playoff contender, a Stanley Cup contender. Everybody had the label in their minds, but we saw it all on paper. This team cannot win series. This team cannot win when it matters the most. Bunch of these star players, except for Nylander, stop showing up and they don't score in the playoffs. This was the culture that Kyle Dubas kind of built within this team, and I guess you could say it was sort of there for a long time before the Matthews era began. I mean, the Kessel, JVR, Bozak days come to mind, but still, the Toronto Maple Leafs solution, is it to trade for Josh Anderson and give up some draft picks and prospects in the process? For sure, it makes a fun, entertaining Canadiens-related discussion, but for Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I mean, imagine that, eh? Trading your captain, hometown guy, forcing him to waive. He's making $11 million a year. He is the heart and soul, in a way, of this team's identity. Or maybe that's Marner. I don't really know. You can debate in the comment section whether or not the Toronto Maple Leafs identity of their team is distributed mostly through Johnny T, but imagine trading that guy away for one of the biggest bums that has been memed upon in Montreal Canadiens discourse the past few years. Josh Anderson, everybody, a big power forward-like guy who can drive to the net and shoot up high and nothing else. He scored some clutch goals for the Montreal Canadiens in the playoffs in 2021, I won't doubt that. I think he scored the very first goal in Game 1 against Toronto, something like that. If the Maple Leafs still see some value in that kind of a player, then hey, be my guest. Let's get Johnny T in Montreal. Have that guy as the second-line center behind Nick Suzuki. Put Tavares on a line with some speedy wingers that can help get in the puck so he doesn't have to be forced to use his non-existent foot speed. What do you think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. John Tavares for Josh Anderson. Maybe could the Canadiens get some extra stuff in the process as well? Link is in the description again to the Arpon Basu comment, which is on the SCPN Twitter account. What are your opinions about this? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.